finding my why. In my last video, I teased that this was going to be a video on why I will never buy another jar of mayonnaise again. I guess I should say this is why I will always make my own mayonnaise. Now you'll notice that I have a jar of real Best Foods mayonnaise here. And by the way, I am a mayonnaise gal, not a Miracle Whip gal. So if you're looking for a recipe for Miracle Whip, I can't help you. In fact, I got online to see if I could find one, and they're way too complicated for me. And since I don't like it anyway, I'm not gonna make it. But this is for mayonnaise. I do have a jar of mayonnaise because you can't eat the raw eggs. Hello, puppy dog. You can't eat the raw eggs if you're pregnant. And my daughter had a baby a year ago, and I have a daughter-in-law that's pregnant. So I always do have some mayonnaise that is made obviously with pasteurized ingredients for my daughter-in-laws or my daughter and daughter-in-laws when they come to visit. So I do have some, and I do like Best Food mayonnaise, but I'll tell you what, if you make this mayonnaise, you just taste-wise, it doesn't compare. And there's all sorts of things in here that I don't, soybean oil, no thank you. Blah, 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 calcium, disodium, used to protect quality, natural flavors, which they don't even give you. Anyway, mine just has 4 ingredients in it, and really fast and easy to make, so I'm gonna show you why I make it and how I make it. So the first ingredient in this mayonnaise is eggs. Now these eggs come from the chickens in my backyard, and it's very important that they are room temperature. If they're cold, it will not make mayonnaise. I'm sure that there's some reason that happens that I should know, but I don't. So I'm gonna put these eggs in here, and I use a mason jar because it keeps everything nice and confined as it gets blended up. And I can just throw the lid on it and stick it right in my refrigerator. So a mason jar is a really great place to do homemade mayonnaise. Now, this recipe is actually, I've doubled the recipe, so I'm showing you that. So 2 eggs, and I just throw them right in the bottom. I buy mustard in big packages like this from Macy's because I know I'm gonna make lots of mayonnaise, and it only takes a teaspoon per, but we do eat lots of mayonnaise at my house. So I'll dump a teaspoon of mustard powder down in the bottom of there, and then a teaspoon of sea salt. I suppose you can use regular old table salt, but I'm using sea salt in mine, and I'll throw a teaspoon of sea salt in there as well. So if you're gonna just make a small mayonnaise, I would use a pint-sized jar, and you just have to make sure that your immersion blender fits into it, because you can't do it with anything else but an immersion blender. So that's 2 eggs and a teaspoon of mustard powder and a teaspoon of salt, or if you're just gonna do one batch, it's 1 egg, a half a teaspoon of mustard powder, and a half a teaspoon of salt. Oh, there's Alexa reminding me to have some water.
A drink of water.
While I pour this in, enjoy Alexa.
Here's your reminder. Have a drink of water.
I probably should have turned her off, but there you go. That's how I get my water in during the day. So you're gonna use 2 cups of olive oil. You can use any kind of oil. You can use canola oil. It's really yummy with avocado oil. So really any kind of oil. The recipe says to use the light. This is a mild flavor. I do not like making it with extra virgin. It just gets, the texture gets weird and the taste gets weird. So I would use just the regular or sometimes you can buy the light. I've used the Bertolli light a couple of times. I just buy this at Sam's Club. So you're gonna go ahead and just pour your oil right in on top of those other ingredients. And you're gonna see it's gonna make about 3 cups of mayonnaise. Okay, you've got 2 cups of oil, so it makes about 3 cups of mayonnaise, which when I figured was about 20 servings, you're looking at 200 calories a serving. But a serving is a good 2 tablespoons. So unless you're really, if you're putting it in a salad or something, then you can put 2 tablespoons in, and that really does a whole big salad for me. Or if you're making a sandwich and you're using 1 tablespoon, you're about 104 calories. It's not low calorie food, but neither really is mayonnaise. I don't know. This is 90 for a tablespoon. So you're really looking at fairly similar, maybe just a little bit more. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pause the video and move the camera because I want you to see how cool it is as you watch this emulsify and become mayonnaise. So I'm gonna pause for a minute and I'll be right back. Okay, here's your little bit of a bird's eye view to the mayonnaise. An immersion blender will cost you about 18 bucks. I suppose you can pay more for it than that, but I just bought mine at Walmart. It's been going for years. And you wanna put it on your high speed, so you wanna put it all the way to your plus. And you want to put it all the way down to the bottom of your jar. So it's literally touching the bottom of your jar. And then I'm gonna go ahead and blend. I may turn the sound down on this when we get to actually publishing it, but I want you to watch how cool this is. Here we go. Okay, you'll notice that it's not white like mayonnaise is because you've got those absolutely wonderful egg yolks, especially if they're from fresh chickens and you know what they've eaten, so that makes it nice. And there's your mayonnaise. As you're doing it, you need to pull that up, do it at the bottom for just a minute until you see that it starts to emulsify. Now, I have ruined mayonnaise more than once, and I hate to admit that, but I have, and mostly it's because the eggs were not warm enough. I'm gonna go ahead and stand the camera back up. There we go. Mostly it's because the eggs were not warm enough. And so sometimes what I've done is you'll end up with this really just soupy mess. And a few times I've just had to throw it away because I haven't wanted to add a whole bunch more stuff to it. But generally you can add another egg to it and that will usually work. And then you can blend it. But if you'll go all the way down at the bottom, start at the bottom, and then just kind of tilt it up slowly and move up and then kind of turn your jar around as you do it, you have this lovely, lovely mayonnaise. And I will tell you what, it tastes amazing. All right, thank you for joining me for another episode of Finding My Why. I will put the recipe at the end of this, but again, it's super easy. If you're making a small amount, 1 cup of oil, 1 egg, half a teaspoon of mustard powder, and half a teaspoon of salt, and then use your immersion blender. If you're doubling it like I did, because I really use it for my salad dressing, I use it for just about everything, then you want to do 2 cups and a teaspoon, and 2 eggs. And if you're worried about raw eggs, we have been eating this for years. It has never made us sick. Of course, we know when these eggs were picked up. We know how long they've been around. And so I have made it with just eggs that I bought at the store, and it usually will keep in the fridge for about up to 2 weeks. I would say if you eat it within a week, you're 100% safe. You do want to keep it closed and put a lid on it before you stick it in your fridge. But I use it for coleslaw. I use it for chicken salad. I use it, like I said, on my salads. Oh, and if your eggs are cold, oftentimes I will actually stick them in a cup of warm water and let them sit for 10 or 15 minutes. And that just brings them to room temperature. You don't want to put it in hot water, but in cold water, and that will room temperature. Okay, well, I've enjoyed being with you today, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.